What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes reporting for duty here with one of the top flyweights, in the world. It's Brandon Royval joining us here on the program. What's up, Brandon? How are you?
Good in yourself?
Good. Man, it looks like a nice day out there in Colorado, I imagine. Looks like you're home. Blue skies. How you feeling? Is this like a day off, or did you already get the training out of the way today?
No, I got training a little bit. I'm in between practices, so I decided I'm grilling, so I decided to cut my grass and all the above. So yeah, I'm in between practices. I already trained like 3 hours or this morning, so I got 2 more hours left, and we'll call it a day.
Is that your house that you're at? That huge backyard I can see?
Yeah. It's my house, my garage. Yeah,
Cool.
my dog's
Very
running around
cool.
here somewhere. I'm sure he's gonna pop up.
Did you buy that house?
Yeah. I bought
Nice.
it almost a year ago exactly. So I feel like the move for fighters is just buy a house once a year and kind of move on. So I'm already looking for my next house.
Okay. Well, what's wrong with this one?
Nothing's wrong with it. I fixed it up, and it was like the backyard. Like beforehand, there was like no grass. There, it was all dirty. So it's just finally fixed it up, and it's just kind of ready to rent. And you know, nothing's wrong with it. I think just for me, I don't really want to go back to work when I get out of the UFC. So just owning as many properties as possible, house hacking, doing anything I can to kind of find different sources of income and revenue while making really good money right now.
You mow your own lawn, or you have someone do it?
Nah, I'm on my own lawn, but I'm about to have some little kids pull my weeds because I'm not about to be doing that anymore. I've done my time as a little kid pulling weeds and all that stuff. I'm
Right.
over that.
Okay. Yeah. Very cool. Was it a particular fight that was it the Schnell fight? After the Schnell fight, you bought this house? Like, did you get?
It was before the Schnell fight technically. So like, right when I fought Schnell, I was already like in the process of buying it, or like, what is it? Like, I was under contract, and then right after the
Mhm.
Schnell fight, I moved in like a week later. So, yeah, it was right after the Snell fight, or like right before the Snell fight. The Bontrine fight's the one that kind of got me the money to go do it and move forward with that.
This is awesome. I hope other fighters see this as well. That you're already not only bought your house, you're already gonna move on to the next one, and you're creating streams of revenue for yourself. So it's very, very cool. In fact, not just fighters, a lot of young kids that look up to you guys or other athletes or whatever. This is really, really cool to see.
Yeah, and I just feel like if I could do anything with my money, I put stuff in stocks and stuff too, but I'm not most like I don't know, I'm not locked up in that like the stock market. I don't really know what's the best thing to do. So I have financial advisors do that stuff for me. But it's like I know real estate, I know the Denver area, I know Colorado area, I know what's moving up, I know what's moving down. Or there's really not anything moving down right now, but I know the areas to kind of buy in. So I've just been kind of running off that and just knowing real estate's always the best move for investors, and then also just knowing the area well is pretty key.
Hmm. Is there anyone in your MMA world that kind of guided you towards all this? Your manager, another fighter, a coach, or is this all your thinking, or maybe from your family's thinking?
No, man. One of my biggest heroes in the MMA world, and not just for his fighting and his IQ, is just James Krause, man. James Krause has been like a huge inspiration of mine and like a big idol of mine, and helped me change my life in many ways. But also just getting me out of the way of thinking is like, when I was younger, I didn't always make the most money. I didn't have the most money, and it's like I didn't have people making the most money around me at the time, so I didn't know what to do with it. So when you kind of come from that like area, and then everybody around you comes from that kind of background, I think what you immediately want to do is save your money. And that's what I was doing originally when I got to the UFC. It's like I made 3 bonuses right off the bat, and I'm like, I'm going to save every penny. I'm going to save every penny possible. And that's not what you got to do with your money. You got to invest it. You got to spend money to make money. And James Krause is huge on the house hacking, turning, buying duplexes, quadplexes, a bunch of stuff like that to just have alternative ways of income and all that. So James Krause was huge on that. Introduced me to books, all the above, and mainly just introduced me to the knowledge of just spend this money. You don't need to save every penny, because every penny that's going into your bank and that you're saving is virtually going to waste. And I came from a very different ideological way of thinking, and I was just like, I don't have money, so if I have it, hoard it and just save it, and we'll save it for a rainy day or if something happens. And it's like that's not what's going to ultimately make me money at this time, and that's what I need to be doing anyway. So, James Krause, um, I know he's not have been the most positive spotlight lately, but for some of us fighters, but especially me, he's changed my life in the best way, man, and a huge inspiration of mine, huge idol of mine, and has done so many great things by me in just a way of thinking and how to just move forward as a man, you know.
That's a nice shout out you're giving him. To tell you the truth, he's been through a lot, and we don't know how that's going to play out. But at least if we put that to the side, I've had great interactions with him. A lot of people have, but I really appreciate you saying that. Keeping it 100 with us. That's very cool. It seems like the guy's gotten really lost in the shuffle here in our sport, and that may wind up being unfortunate or whatever. I don't know. I don't know the details of what he's going through, but we had him on the show before too, and he used to say things very similar to what you said. I believe he owned two Metro PCS stores, and I'm not sure he still does or he did, but he was always the thinker. So shout out to Krause. Yeah.
Yeah, and just like I said, he was just I mean, like I said, I can't speak to what he's got in trouble for and all that, and it's like I hope that whatever comes through, he comes out in the best way. But
Yeah.
as far as forward thinking and MMA fighters and what we should be doing with our revenue is he was all over that stuff, man, and he had so many great ideas and so many great things. And I know not only is it me, but he's influenced a lot of my teammates. Because James Krause was a Factory X fighter for a time, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
I spent a lot of time with him. I spent a lot of time around him, and not just in MMA is and like his like techniques and all that stuff as a coach and all that. Because he's cornered me in fights, and it's just like just as a businessman and a way of thinking, man, he's changed my life in so many ways, and I couldn't appreciate that man anymore.
I'm going to ask you one more question. I want you to think about it before you answer. But from what I remember, anybody that was at his gym just had to leave the gym. He's under some sort of an investigation and all that. But is all contact lost with him? Does anyone keep in touch with him? Like, can someone actually just pick up the phone and go, "Hey, how you doing?" And that's it. Like, do you know how it works? Because I really don't, and I'm not trying to set anyone up or anything. I'm just curious. That's all. I'm wondering if you know.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to him. I've reached out to him and just given my best wishes. I've thanked him for things. I've
Mhm.
thanked him for buying this house. When I bought this house, I thanked him, and it's just like I'll thank him when I buy the next one because it's like I'm still, like I said, I'm looking right now, and it's like I'll thank him when I buy the next one. And like I said, I reached out to him, and I haven't reached out to him about what's going on in his life as much. Just that I
Yeah.
just wish him the best, and I appreciate that man very much.
Okay. Solid. All right. Well, look. Let me turn it over to Goes. Really, there's other stuff obviously we wanted to talk to you about, but this was just so interesting to me because it's such a beautiful background that you're in right now, and this is so many times we hear the bad news that might surround a fighter or the trouble that they get into, and here we have a case of a fighter that's doing a lot of good in their life. All right, Goes, what do you have for Brandon Royval?
Yeah, Brandon. So your division's popping right now. There's a lot going on, um, and sometimes George and George does the rankings for USA Today and MMA Junkie, and our rankings don't always match up with the UFC's rankings. But I just wanted to get your thought first on rankings. My first question about rankings would be, if you could change something about rankings, what would it be?
I would have the main sources of MMA do the rankings. It's like I went like when the rankings came out and I saw who was doing the rankings. There's like two people that are like common names, that are in the ranking discussions, and it's like none of them are MMA Junkie or like the MMA Underground. It's none of those like the big ones that you hear from on a daily basis. It's there was like something called like I don't even know, like nothing that has to do with fighting in their name, and it's like there's so many of those, and it's like what who are these people? How do we hold these people accountable? And it's just like what gives these guys the knowledge and the background to just be doing it? Because it seemed like in my perspective of things that the rankings this time was done very lazy, and it's like, okay, that guy beat that guy, we'll just put him here. And it's like, if you even consider that guy beating that guy, but it's just like, yeah, I think the rankings are a little weird. And it's like, I know the UFC has nothing to do with the rankings. It's all like MMA journalists, and it's when you look at the MMA journalists that do it, it's not any. anybody major, or not anybody that you would expect, or any of the big outlets that I go to for my MMA news, like you guys and the underground and stuff like that, where it's just like, these guys should be the ones that are making some of these decisions. There's people that with an ear to the ground in the UFC that I do interviews with, that they're interviewing every fighter. They see every fighter, and it's like, those aren't the ones that are doing the rankings. These random ass people around the world are doing it, and it was a little eye opening to me once I figured out who does the rankings and how it's all kind of provided. And it just seemed like this time around, at least for the flyweight division, it was done very lackadaisical.
How much power do you think there is behind the number versus just being vocal, being in the right place at the right time, saying the right things? Which one do you think weighs more?
I know the UFC doesn't really give a shit about the rankings. I know, like I said, I've had conversations, and just being like my ear to the ground, and especially with the recent rankings, is just like, I know that there's like not too much doubt with that, but yeah, I think it's just like who's popping right now, who's not popping right now, and that's kind of like where it goes from there. So I'd be interested to see what happens in these next few weeks. I'm over here cooking and getting my diet right because I'm weighing in as a backup fighter for this title fight, and yeah, I'm interested to see how this kind of all unfolds and how much power they put into the rankings, because it's like, we all. If you looked at any when the rankings came out, if you look at anybody who did the rankings, or like was commenting on the rankings or sharing the rankings of that, everybody's like, "What the hell was that about? Like, who does that?" And I think the UFC got a lot of slack for it, even though they have nothing to do with the rankings at all. So it was kind of interesting, and it kind of made me feel better when you just hear everybody talk about it, and you're like, what the hell? Who does this? Like, yeah. So it was interesting.
Can you take us through what it's like for you on fight night? Like, we'll use we talked. You brought him up a little earlier. Kai Kara France, Amir Albazi. Watching that fight, what's it like to watch it and then see everything unfold? What do you think of the decision? Can you share how all that went down?
To be 100% honest with you, I was super excited to watch a flyweight main event, and I was super. I don't know. I was just like almost honored that I'm like, okay, these guys are taking the lead right now, and I feel like a little bit it was me. I feel like I had a little bit of something to do with it, so I kind of took pride of just being outspoken about flyweights getting kind of like shucked to the side, including like just because my last fight I was on the undercard, and it was like, yo, this is the top 5 fighters in the world. You know what I'm saying? But when the fight unfolded, I thought it was a very underwhelming. I didn't think it was a good fight at all. I didn't think it wasn't a horrible fight. Like, they both did a little bit of something, but I don't know. I felt like there could have been a better showing, and it's like, I know if me and Matej Nikolai were the main event of that, or if me and Kai Kara France were the main event of that, or Amir Albazi were the main event of that, I know that I wasn't going to have a boring ass fight in a main event for sure. So, I thought at the very end they picked it up, and it became kind of exciting at the end. But that being said, I thought it was a little underwhelming, and I expected a lot more from both those guys.
Going to that decision, a lot of people had it one way, some had it another. How did you see it? And did you feel very confident in how you saw the fight?
I mean, I scored it for Kai Kara France. I originally scored 4 rounds for Kai Kara France, but I could see it being 3 rounds. And then I don't know. For me, it was kind of funny because like Amir Albazi in like the interviews leading up to it was saying, he goes, I'll leave no doubt in anybody's mind who's next for the flyweight belt, and I felt like he did that. I felt like he did a great job doing that, and there's no doubt that I should be next for the flyweight belt, because I didn't think he won that fight, and I also just thought it was like a shit show. Like, it wasn't a great fight, and it was like, not only did he not win that fight, but it wasn't a good performance, and not only did I smoke my last opponent, and it was a great performance, but it was also a top 5 fighter, and I've been continuously beating these top 5 fighters and putting them on highlight reels. So I thought he made a great point, and I think he helped me make my point. Is he left no doubt on who deserves the next flyweight belt, and that's the Raw Dog right here.
Now, I think it's really easy for fans, for media to say, "Hey, don't leave it in the judge's hands." Like, I know a lot of you do try and finish the fights, but sometimes it doesn't work out, right? I mean, this is top level talent. But seeing something like that, right, where Kai Kara France is talking about how much money he actually lost, and we go back to the beginning of your interview, and we've seen what you've been able to do with money. does that almost put a shock in the system? I mean, I know you do try and go out and get your finish every time, but does it almost reinforce it for you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've been to 2 judges' decisions with my wins, and even one of them, I armbarred the guy, and he tapped in the middle of the fight, and it's like, so technically, in my eyes, I've only been to 1 judge's decision, and I don't know, I don't really think about it at all. I don't. I feel like if I go to the judges, I'm gonna lose, so I have that kind of stuck in my head, anyways. So that I don't think about that. But that being said, is these guys are getting paid to do a job, and in the UFC, like it's not boxing, but in the UFC, it's like you significantly screw a fighter when you get these fights, when you score these fights wrong, and it's like in the UFC and for MMA fighters, it's 50% of your purse. In boxing, you get paid a flat rate, which I think is honorable, and I think that's the best way to go about things is getting paid a flat rate. But in the UFC, it doesn't unfold that way. So that being said, is you need judges on their P's and Q's. You need you need to know exactly what went on. You can't have people slipping up, and you can't have these guys continuously slipping up. And I feel like there's a lot of errors, and there's a lot of things that could be fixed, you know. And I'm not, I don't know the answer to that exactly, but I think that there's been a lot of common failures with some of these judges, and I don't know, man. I feel like it kind of just reinforces that not the you need to finish a fight, but it's just like I think fighters should be getting paid a flat rate to go out there. Is Kai Car should make $200,000 to go fight no matter what, not just not just 100 and 100 or whatever he's making at this time. Um, so that's my opinion about it. Is I think it kind of just enforces that like fighters should be making a flat rate. Nobody wants to get their ass kicked on TV. Nobody wants to lose a fight. Everybody wants to go out there and have the glory and stuff. I did this shit for free. I've done this shit for free. I've done this shit and lost money. I've done all the above. So it's like to think that I don't want to go out there and get a win because 50% of my purse isn't going to be taken away is a joke, you know? So I think it kind of just reinforces that fighters should be getting paid a flat rate specifically and not 50 and 50. That's crazy.
You've done this shit for free, as in you're talking about your amateur fights, or were you knocking out Heat fans after the Nuggets won the title the other day?
Nah, I didn't even need to knock out the Heat fans. They were taking off their jerseys when they were leaving that stadium. It was great.
Huge win for the community. Congrats to Nuggets fans. I imagine you're a Nuggets fan.
Yeah. I'm like just any sports in Colorado fan, and it's just been such a big few years for us. The Broncos, even the Broncos didn't lose or won the Super Bowl not that long ago, but Colorado Avalanche, the lacrosse team, just everywhere, man. We have some of the best in the sports right now, and I feel like we're the city of champions as of now, and I feel like within this year I'm going to be one of the first people to bring a belt back to Denver, being a Denver-born fighter, and I carry that with honor. I carry that with pride, and I'm carrying the momentum with the city, and all the above to come back and bring a belt back to the city and continue the city of champions. You know.
That'd be very cool. Yeah. Okay. Last question. So when Albazi did win, whether we disagree or not, they gave it to him. Dana White was asked, how does everybody sit? Because he was made aware that you had stated that you would be the alternate, and he didn't give a 100% backing to that. What have you heard since then? Did you pick up the phone and reassure yourself? Have you heard anything?
No, they already have tickets for. They already have a ticket. They already have hotels for me. So it's like, I know I'm already the alternate. Like I already have tickets, hotel rooms. I already like all that above. So it's like, I know the alternate. They wanted me out there for International Fight Week to go sign autographs, and then one of the big guys in the UFC that kind of runs stuff's like, oh, Royval can't do that because he's the alternate. So it's not a question at all. Like there's no question of it at all. I already have tickets. I already did my blood work. I've done all that stuff. So I'm cutting weight. I have eating chicken and spinach right now for a reason, you know. So I'm the alternate, and it's like maybe he didn't know that. I'm not sure, but it's been that way. I've known that for months now. I've gotten all my paperwork done, all my paperwork in. So it's like I'm the alternate, and they're like I said, I've done all the stuff to fulfill what you'd be doing if you're fighting a normal fight right now, including cutting weight at this very moment in time.
When you've broken down film, who's the tougher fighter? Who's just the tougher matchup Can you even reveal that?
I think the tougher fighter, man. Oh, I don't know, but the tougher fighter between the two, those guys are both tough. I think the more well-rounded and the one with a lot more utensils and tools in his tool shed is Brandon Moreno for sure. I think he has a lot more he could rely on. I think Pantoja's dangerous, and I think he's tough as fuck, man. He goes out there and brings a fight, and it's like, if you can endure that, I think, yeah, and not many people have, but if you can endure it, then maybe you could walk away with the win, especially in a 5-round fight. But I think Brandon Moreno is the more well-rounded fighter with the more tools in his toolbox.
And if he wins, are you prepared to go to Mexico City to be the away team, the guy that ruins the party, before you start being able to call your shots and bring a title fight to Denver? But you probably would have to go to Mexico.
I already got my song picked, bro. We're rocking out some Vicente Fernandez, bro. All the above. Yes, I'm ready, bro. I've been ready. I'm in the Mile High City. We train in elevation, and fighting in Mexico City in elevation. All that stuff's nothing to me, man. I welcome it, and I would love that. I love that, and like I said, I already got my song picked.
Nice. All right. Well, you're steps ahead of us. So great stuff. And I'm glad you reinforced to the audience that you are selected as the backup fighter for UFC 290, Pantoja challenging Brandon Moreno. Thank you, Brandon Royval, for the time today. We appreciate it as always. And congrats again on your success. We can see it in the background. We're proud of you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you guys always having me on. Thank you, AP Glass, too. Have a good day.
Take care. We'll see you.